Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 20th episode of the Gaming Tangents podcast. Woo! We did it. We've made it. This is the last episode. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. See you later.
That's right.
That's a wrap. That didn't go that bad.
Huh?
That's a wrap. That didn't go too bad.
Yeah, no, I think we had a good long run there. Went on a lot of adventures along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many crazy stories to tell to our children.
Remember that time we reported on E3?
Oh my God, the memories.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Man.
We're not really leaving, folks.
Oh.
So for all two of you there that are worried about that, no, we're still going on.
Who couldn't figure that out?
Yeah.
No, that's right. This is the Gaming Tangents podcast. For those of you who have stuck around with us for 20 huge, massive episodes, thank you very much for listening to this gaming discussion podcast where we talk about gaming's past, present, and future. This is also the official podcast of the cross-platform. I'm Menji.
And I'm Maverick.
Happy 20th to you, sir.
Happy 20th to you.
Oh, thank you.
Next episode will be legal.
Yeah, I know, right? We can drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I haven't been drinking since the beginning, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, don't let the cops know.
Oh, yeah. So as long as I'm home, it's fine.
Right.
The older podcasts are buying me all my alcohol.
We don't want to name names, though. We don't want to get them all in trouble or anything.
No. I don't want to burn anybody. That's not cool. It's not cool. China's still cool.
Yeah.
Pay later.
Never mind. So, I have no idea what you said.
Thanks for backing me up on that.
Sure. I'll back you up on whatever the hell you just said. 20. Yeah, there you go.
Of that. What's going on, man? How you doing this week?
I'm doing great. With the exception of a few things here and there, it's been an absolute great week. Probably the best week I've had in the last couple of months here.
Oh, it's good to hear. Excellent.
Yeah, in the past year, really.
Wow. Things are looking up then, huh?
Yeah. Things looking up. I have a lot to look forward to.
You see what the magic of E3 can do? How it can just turn lives around and shine rays of positivity upon the world.
Oh, yeah. E3 brings people together.
Get on board, man. Get on board.
But, yeah, I lost my train of thought on what I was going to say next.
Oh, no, that's fine, because I am doing great. Thanks for
that's right. That's right. How are you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing okay, honestly. There's not much to report on my end this week. I guess now that you're asking me, it's probably a good time to do a little bit of housekeeping for the show, for our big 20th. Now, hang on. No, don't turn it off. We're not, this isn't the last show. That was a joke. In case that wasn't explained straight enough ahead for you.
We're still recording?
No. So I am actually going to be gone starting next week for the majority of the month of July. And as I'm sure you know, but the audience may not, my cohort Maverick here is actually going to be taking the reins for the show while I'm gone. You're going to be having some special guest hosts, I believe.
Yes, I am.
And
I have
stuff.
So people lined up.
You'll have that to look forward to. So the show's going to be running without me for a few weeks. I am actually going to be going to Japan to visit my in-laws and have a little fun. While I'm there, I may try and see if I can't maybe do some recording for the YouTube channel. Maybe, put together a couple little shows. If I can. I have nothing planned. I don't have anything set in stone as far as that is concerned. This trip is for pleasure and not for business. So, but I have a couple of places in mind where, I might be able to film a little bit of stuff that people might find interesting if you're into games and stuff like that. So hopefully I can do something like that. But, I'm not going to make a complete 100% promise on that yet, but I will be gone. I promise you that. Mm-hmm. But I leave you in the capable hands of Maverick.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be amazing.
Nope.
I'll be listening too, though, so don't think that you're escaping scrutiny.
Oh, damn it.
Because, yes, I will still be listening to podcasts while I'm out there, including our own show. So don't think you can get one over on me.
Oh, man. Here I was going to, I don't know, do sock puppets or something.
That's the kind of parent I am. I'm going to leave the security cameras up while I'm on vacation just so I can keep a good eye on the house.
Now, what do I do if the kitchen's on fire?
Stop, drop, and roll under a desk.
Oh boy. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some trouble.
Sure.
Anyway.
And of course, throw water on an oil fire.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Good.
So
what's been going on this week? Any interesting news we should know about? The world in general?
Well, Mighty Number 9 finally came out.
Oh, man.
Now, have you watched any? I can't get the game right now, but have you watched any of the videos?
I watched Xavier Woods play the first level on Up, Up, Down, Down, and that's about as much as I've seen. And then I've listened to one or two other, just random commentary videos about it. The happy console gamer being one of them. That was about it. That's kind of the most that I've followed it.
Okay, so I actually watched some of the gameplays.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I watched one in particular. I don't even remember what channel I was watching on. I was just wanting to see what the gameplay was like. And from what I gathered, it seems to play like Mega Man X.
Yeah, it definitely has more of an X flair to it, especially with the wall sliding and all that.
Right, exactly. And to me, it seems like your standard Mega Man game. It actually doesn't look that bad. I think where the issues lie is that the fact that this is a next-gen console game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and say the graphics are terrible. They're just not good for this current generation system.
Yeah, it does look really rudimentary. And, again, a lot of this has to do with expectations and the people's not checking thereof. Because a lot of people expected much more than what they were going to get from an independent developer. Like, sure, it's Keiji Inafune, but he was on his own with a small team. Like, it wasn't going to be Capcom levels of money backing this thing.
Right. And I think the one thing that really bothered me, besides the one doctor who said all these stupid lines, oh, peas and carrots, what's gonna happen? I was just like, oh my god, okay, that was cringe.
The dialogue is pretty terrible.
Yeah,
I will say that. Their mouths don't even move. It's like, okay, you've had all this time to work on the game. You couldn't get their goddamn mouths to move. I don't know what goes into programming a game, but I would think that would be one of the more important things. I mean, that was something I saw in freaking Mega Man Legends. Right.
A PS1 game.
I mean, even just a simple, anime mouth flap would have been better than nothing.
Right. So it was kind of weird just looking at them talk and no expression on their face whatsoever, like barely any expression on their face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really old style.
Yeah. But I try to look past that because I'm looking at the gameplay aspects.
Right.
And like I said, gameplay wise, it looks fun. I'm not gonna knock it in that. I'm a big Mega Man fan, and I heard that if you are a Mega Man fan, you will like the game. But if you're expecting more, then that's where the problem lies. And I can't really say too much more, only because I haven't played the game hands-on. But I can see for the most part, why the backers are upset.
Right.
Especially with his pedigree and everything,
right?
And what the games he's come out with in the past. Because I mean, I don't think this is their first game, and I've never looked up the name of that game, Azure Striker, I believe it was, which I believe was also that was also Concept that made the game, and that looked amazing on the 3DS, and that wasn't even CG graphics. I mean, they were sprites from what I remember, and that looked amazing. So it's kind of sad to see how this turned out, and seeing all these backers just disappointed. And it's like I mentioned last time. I mean, his reputation's severely damaged at this point.
Oh yeah,
severely, if not completely destroyed.
Yeah, he's Recore is probably like his last chance to redeem himself. Like if Recore is not all that great. I don't know how much more of Mr. Inafune will be seeing.
Well, that's the other thing I'm wondering. Was it all him? Was he the top person there? I mean, I know he was a big, he's a big not developer, but what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even.
Developer sounds good to me.
Okay, well, developer. He's a big name developer. Just his name alone. But was it marketing? Was it someone else in concept? That's what I'm wondering. Because I mean, I feel bad if it's just him alone that's getting all this blame.
Right.
Because I mean,
well, he put his name and face on it.
Right.
So he's going to be the name and face of any negative publicity that happens as well.
Well, and I think the big problem that what didn't help him was trying to start a Kickstarter for the spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends.
Right.
Before this game was even finished.
Right. And
then wanting to do a cartoon.
Right.
He
spread himself thin. And then also, speaking of marketing, they did do that commercial right before it came out. The whole thing where they just kind of offended everybody that likes Mega Man, or anime, which is pretty much a huge base of your Mega Man fan base as well. And so that didn't work out in their favor.
Right. That wasn't Concept themselves, I don't believe, but still didn't help them.
No.
So it's just, I feel bad for the guy. I really do. Hopefully he will be able to redeem himself. I think that people are going to look too much into what they expected of this game and all the flaws that happen, as opposed to whether the game is good or not. To me, it looks like a good game that's just marred by all this controversy. The only criticism I have is graphics-wise. For a game that's on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it could have had better graphics.
Right. It's definitely a total portable game. Like it'd probably do well on a mobile, like a phone.
Yeah, and I was planning on getting it for the 3DS whenever that came out, and apparently that's been delayed.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Just another chink in the armor.
Right? Xbox 360, not Xbox One, Xbox 360, 3DS, and Vita are all, are all games that are all systems that they've been delayed on from what I've heard.
And see, like a Vita 3DS, like that's where that game seems it should belong. Right. In my view, from what I've seen. Right. It's not a console game to me. Maybe a PC game, like a $5 PC game. But
right. I mean, the asking price is about $30. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, maybe the highest I would go is 12 right now. But again, I'm not the biggest Mega Man guy. Like, this is not the game for me. I wasn't really all that excited when it was announced. I wasn't ever too excited when I saw any of the concept art or any of the videos. And now that it's been released, it still just looked like a Mega Man game to me, which, to me, Mega Man games are fun, but I don't think I've ever actually owned one up until now, when I've kind of started just to collect classic games and, emulators and stuff. But back in the day, I don't remember ever owning a Mega Man game, and except for 8. That's the only Mega Man game I ever got.
Right.
And outside of that, and mostly that was because, you know, that was a new generation Mega Man with like anime cutscenes and stuff like that. And like I said in a prior podcast, like, you know, that was my time when I wanted all games to have anime cutscenes. And so I thought that was awesome.
Right.
But, you know, I've never really been like a huge Mega Man game like guy like you are. And so it's just like, again, it looks like a good Mega Man game. Mm-hmm. But to me, it, you know, just looks like a Mega Man game. So, well, take it or leave it. If you have it and I go over to your place, I would play it there. But I definitely don't feel like I need to go out of my way to play it here or to buy it.
Well,
no, I mean...
You cut out there for a moment, sorry.
Oh.
I think my other issue, and I'm wondering if other people were keeping this in mind. I was kind of expecting a lot of similarities to Mega Man. The way in which the stages open and everything like that, and the stage select and whatnot. It was kind of dumb of me to expect all that. But if they did that, that would have been a complete rehash of Mega Man, and I can see where they were trying to do different things, you know?
Right.
I was even, because I mean, I watched this thing through the end. I'm not worried about spoilers for something small like this.
Right.
But, you know, and spoilers for anybody who wants to be surprised.
Worried about the story of Mighty Number 9.
Right.
And all the other mighty numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you expect it to even have a similar story to Mega Man. And towards the end, you know, once you get to the last levels and everything like that, I mean, there's a stage for call, and there's no gauntlet battle where you have to fight all the bosses again. And you're not necessarily dealing with a mad doctor, you know? And so I was just like, okay, so I can see where they're trying to go with this, and I have to keep in mind this is its own entity. It's not Mega Man itself.
Right.
And I think a lot of people were expecting just, you know, a complete rehash of Mega Man, and I think that's another thing that's been tainting it, because, like I said, again, gameplay-wise, it doesn't look like it's a terrible game. So why it's getting so much crap on that aspect, I don't know. And I think a lot of it is tainted because of the experience these people have had with the whole development process of this game to begin with.
Right. I really hope the same thing doesn't happen with Ikaragi's game, with everybody kind of expecting it to just be like almost a sequel to Symphony of the Night with different characters.
But you know what? I'm afraid that that's what it's going to be.
Oh,
you know?
that scares me. Because honestly, that I would like to see like play out differently. Like, I don't want to see Dracula. I mean, as it is, I've gotten sick of Dracula and Castlevania games as it is. So it would be cool to kind of see like a different, you know, still kind of like a scary gothic style game, but not necessarily dealing with vampires and Dracula.
Right.
So.
And I mean, it'll probably be like a similar concept, but I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people have to keep in mind is that
they don't have the rights to those concepts.
Well, they have the rights. They can do different concepts as long as it's not like licensed stuff that, you know, it's owned by Konami, you know.
Right.
But, you know, don't expect the exact same game, or else then you're going to be severely disappointed. And see, if I hadn't separated that, you know, kept that mindset that this is a different game, I probably would have been just as disappointed. And I you know, I have to remember that, you know, yeah, I do play games and all that, but I am slightly into the past generations. So, you know, 10 years ago, I would have probably been with that crowd, which, oh, that sucks, I shouldn't have done that, blah blah blah, you know. So yeah, I just feel bad that it's tainted. I don't know what this is gonna do for what's the game called again? Blood something, Ritual of the Night. I'll remember the subtitle more than I remember the actual title.
Right, Blood. Is it Blood Dragon?
No, I know there's no dragon. I know there's blood in there, but Blood Ritual
We'll go with
tonight.
that. Sister's Moon of the Nocturna.
Something like that.
There you
and
go.
then I think, I think the one that will be successful, even though Sony cheated, would be Shenmue 3. Because in that sense, people are expecting, people are going to get an actual sequel to something that's already popular. Whereas these games, they're spiritual successors, so people are expecting the same game and not getting it.
Right. What's the one thing I haven't checked into with the Shenmue thing is whether there's going to be a Japanese version.
I don't know. There was talk about, development problems. I don't know if any development problems on Shenmue 3, but I remember this being a real big deal only because it was such a stupid stretch goal, which was if we make $400,000, I forget how much the amount was, we'll put Portuguese subtitles.
All right.
That was random.
That Portuguese cash in. Yeah. I mean, for me specifically, because I only got to play Shenmue 1, unfortunately, because again, never got an Xbox, and Shenmue 2 for some reason was too expensive on the Dreamcast for me to get. Did it even come out on the Dreamcast? I think it did.
Yeah, it did.
It was hard to find. But I played all through Shenmue 1 in Japanese, and this is back before I knew Japanese.
Nice.
But I struggled through it, and I made it all the way to the end. And so I'm used to it. And again, I know he's been in China since the last game, but if he ever goes back to Japan, it's just weird for me to be in Japan and see everything in English. And also, I don't know what his English voice is. Oh, actually, I do, because I've heard him looking for sailors. But
I would have.
Have you seen what?
I have not seen through. I had the game briefly, and to be honest, it kind of bored me.
It's not a game for everyone. It's definitely much more of a, I don't want to put it, like an atmospheric game.
Right.
It's more environmental. It's about you kind of just going through this world and kind of figuring things out. It's not actually an action-oriented game, although there is a bit of fighting in it. So I hope people don't expect that out of Shenmue. It's a different kind of RPG.
Right. Well, and then
it's almost a simulator.
Yeah, I think I spent more time in the arcade playing Space Harrier than actually
in Shenmue?
Going through the game. Yeah, and on top of that, I can appreciate Sega trying, and I use the word very lightly when I say this, trying to keep that Japanese aesthetic in there. They were like, because what was the scene? This scene has never left my brain. Okay. where I guess it's and you probably remember it. The grandmother is like laying, or the old lady's laying on the ground and everything, and he goes to help her up and everything, and she goes, "Oh, it's you, Dio," like that. I'm like, wow,
trying to overemphasize the accent.
Yeah, and I'm like, that didn't sound forced at all.
That's how I felt on Big Hero 6 whenever Honey Lemon would say Hiro's name.
Really? See, in that movie, I didn't. I can catch on to some of this stuff, but sometimes I can't, and I didn't catch it in Big Hero 6.
She would overemphasize his name, like accent and all, like on purpose. It was really noticeable and a little bit annoying. They actually talked about that on one of the making of specials too, because it's I forget the girl who does her voice, but she's Latina. And so she was like, well, Japanese pronunciation and Spanish pronunciations is, it's very similar. And so I thought that I would just use the Spanish pronunciation for his name. Mm-hmm. And I get that. That's part of the reason why I think my Japanese sounds fairly good, is because I just take that Spanish accent and apply it to Japanese, more or less, tweak it. But that doesn't sound like what she's doing. Like, she's very much overemphasizing Hiro. Like, it's just a little too much. Like, pull it back just a little bit. Genesis something or other. Her name's Genesis.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting. That's what the feeling I got off Shenmue, which came out way before Big Hero 6 did. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's you, yo, and I'm like, oh my God, that was embarrassing. Like I was embarrassed for the voice actress.
It's funny though. That game did invent the QuickTime event, though. We have Shenmue to thank for that.
Well, yeah, I want to go and freaking beat the guy who didn't. I hate QuickTime
Definitely
events.
an overused. What do you want to call it? An overused concept at this point. I mean, like, you know, if they didn't have it, like God of War probably wouldn't have had it. God of War definitely has probably some of the best QuickTime events, at least.
Yeah, that is true.
But there are some games that overutilize QuickTime events. and usually for like really mundane, stupid bullshit too.
Yeah,
It's never anything that's worthwhile. You get some sort of a response that's interesting to watch.
Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Push X to pay your respects.
Is that really a thing?
I'm not kidding. That really was a thing.
Now I know I don't play them games. Good God.
Moving on.
Yeah. You said you found something else?
Yeah, this is not so much gaming related. I actually just found out about this a few hours before we started this podcast.
Uh-oh.
And
It's not Brexit, is it? Because I'm tired of hearing the term Brexit.
That thing. Okay. Yeah, I've kind of not been focusing on that. No. Anyway.
Okay.
I always get the numbers all wrong on this, but Boogie2988.
Uh-huh.
Someone hacked into his account and deleted his YouTube account. Yeah, and apparently some of his other accounts, from I understand, I haven't had, because I just found out about it, I haven't had too much time to research it, but Alpha Omega Sin, great commentator,
Yeah.
pretty much expresses the anger that I have over this whole situation, because some hacker, and whoever hacked it is taking credit for it. I don't want to really give this guy a name, because if it's for name recognition, you're not going to get it from me. You know, you can look online if you're curious, or you watch Alpha Megasin's video. He mentions it, but my whole thing is just anger over the whole thing, because you remember I told you I had this perception of him before I found out that his Francis character wasn't real.
Right.
You know, and he's, from what I've seen, he's generally a good guy. You know, he seems
totally
like a very nice guy, one of the nicest ones I've seen on YouTube. And some asshole does this to them just to get recognition, or because he can do it. Why?
Right. That's usually the main reason.
Yeah. Why? What are you going to get out of it? What satisfaction are you going to get out of that? You know? And I'm just going to say the standard things. It's wrong. You are an asshole for doing it. And whether or not, I hope they find this guy. I don't know if there's any kind of law against doing something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the laws. But there's no reason. There's no reason. I mean,
nope. And that's basically his livelihood right now too. So that's just,
yeah, exactly. Why are you going to ruin
you're
someone else's?
basically taking away somebody's source of income just because you feel like being an asshole.
Right.
And you think it's funny to yourself.
Exactly. I mean, he had found out that his phone number apparently got compromised or something, and that's how they were able to get into the account, and just deleted everything. And the channel's back up, but he was able to recover everything. I just checked it before we started the podcast.
That's good.
But yeah, you're right. That's his livelihood. How are you going to... What satisfaction are you get by ruining someone else's life like that? There are so many people who already say that this, you know, who criticize YouTubers for making a living out of this. You know, I'm not going to sit here and criticize them, because, you know what? If that works for them, good for them. You know?
Yeah, YouTube put out the means and people are using it. It's not like they're doing anything illegal.
Right, exactly. And
if you don't like it, don't support it.
Exactly. So don't go... I mean, not that my words are going to reach this guy or anything. Shit. But you're an asshole. You know...
That's lame.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to call him. You're an asshole.
Take that.
More or less. It just makes me angry. I don't really have too much more to say on it. It's just that I just wanted to give my 2 cents on the whole thing, and I know that we're a smaller podcast, you know, don't have a broad audience, but I want to get that word out. Because again, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, you know.
Right. It's a lot of these guys now, they don't even realize what they're doing. It's literally because they know they can do it, and that's why they do it. I remember hearing on Hollywood Babylon either this week or last week that some jackass had hacked into George Harrison's Twitter account.
Really?
And held it hostage.
Seriously?
And like put out a tweet, you know, George Harrison, the Beatle.
Right. No,
and then put out a tweet, George Harrison, you know, if you want your account back, like, you know, pay me or give me recognition or something.
Are you sure it was George Harrison? Because I'm pretty sure he's...
Yeah, George Harrison's been dead for a few years.
Wow. So this guy did his research.
The hacker came back on and was like, "Oh, my bad. I'm dumb. I didn't realize that this guy was dead already." But like kept tweeting about it under his own Twitter handle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like they're just doing it because they can do it without putting any thought. You know, like at least for the most part, like groups like Anonymous. Like they will use their powers for good on occasion.
Right, and for the most part, I've seen Anonymous actually try to do, you know, stuff that's worthwhile. So I can't always criticize them for what they do.
Yeah, but it's like assholes like this, or the Lizard Squad, or whatever the hell they call themselves, the guys that brought down the PlayStation and Microsoft.
Xbox Live.
Like those guys are just worthless.
Well, and apparently these guys also brought down what's called Review Tech USA, which, you know, he has a lot of fans, but he also has quite a bit of enemies as well.
Because God forbid you speak your opinion.
Right. And the thing is like they successfully prevented him from going to, I don't know if it was a VidCon or MagFest or something. He was supposed to have a panel. And because he spoke out against Lizard Squad and what they did, he had done several videos by that point. They were able to successfully get him not to go to MagFest because they had put out some kind of threat, and the people at MagFest didn't want to take the chance with the audience and everything like that. And so we're like, yeah, you can't do your panel. It's like, why? That's fucked up. Why? Because you don't like his opinion? You know,
I know.
God forbid he says something you don't like. You know, and it's like, I don't always agree with the guy. You know, he's not always right. Nobody's ever always right.
None of them, yeah.
You know, you and I
even
are
just
never
the guys
always
that we
right.
just talked about.
Huh?
Even the guys that we just talked about that we really like, Alpha Omega Sid and Boogie.
But
sometimes they'll say stuff we don't agree with.
But they're entitled to their opinion. Where do you get this idea that? Where do you get this idea that it's okay to shut someone up, you know, that severely because you don't like them? You know, turn it off. Just let it go. You know, some people are dumb and not able to think for themselves. I'm sorry to say that, but that is the truth. Some people will not think for themselves. There are sometimes I listen to some people and I hate what they say, but what's my complaining gonna do? All I can say is what I think of the situation. Hope that someone will change their mind about it, but you know, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm right about it either.
We refer to that as a dialogue.
Exactly. So I don't know. It just
these guys are down for fascism.
Taking down this
Il fascisti. Like that's all it is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's taking it down and just doing it. You know, apparently Watch Mojo was also hacked this week.
I care less about that. But
yeah, no, well, I know you care less about it, but that's not my point. You know, case in point, that's not my point. The point is that
taking down sites with worthless content is not a big worry for me. I'm kidding. It's I'm being a total hypocrite right now. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
I see, and I just heard about that tonight too. Apparently this happened earlier this week. I didn't know about it, so I don't know the whole gist of it. But apparently they just changed some names on some videos. I'm not up to par with this particular story, but if you're gonna play a prank like that, I'm not gonna have big issue with it unless you say something that's gonna damage, you know, the reputation again.
Right?
Why? I just don't get it. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm just venting because it made me mad for him, for Boogie. He didn't deserve that.
Yeah, like he's never out to hurt anybody. He rarely ever puts out like a dissenting opinion about anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless he's playing as Francis, but by this point,
he's a character.
Even Maverick has figured out that Francis is fake. So if anybody else hasn't, like you're really under a big giant pile of rocks.
Pretty much. Either way, I brought it up mainly because it pissed me off. It needed to be said. Just, he does not deserve that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, nobody really deserves it, even no matter how much I dislike their opinion. I'll even go as far as to say that someone like Anita Sarkeesian doesn't deserve something like that, because as much as I hate the stuff that she says, she is entitled to her opinion.
She's entitled to put her videos out there as the rest of us.
Exactly, and I have every right not to watch them. That
also exactly
easier. It's that easy.
Yeah. Vote with your wallet, not with your hacking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty. Did you watch some of that Twitch stuff?
I couldn't.
Okay. You didn't watch any of it?
No. I couldn't last night, but
right.
Today I had to step out, and so I never got a chance to watch any of the footage. And we were speaking in reference to King of Fighters 14.
Right, so CEO Gaming on Twitch, they were doing like a bunch of basically pre-Evo tournaments for various fighting games, and one of the things they did was yesterday and today they did some exhibition matches for KOF 14. And I think the reason why they didn't do a full-fledged tournament is because it was actually still just a demo.
I believe that.
Well, I mean, the weird thing is that it was a demo, but all the characters were available.
Were they?
Yeah. At least what they were playing in this exhibition match.
Because I know that
they were able to choose pretty much everybody except for, like, it looked like there was some slots for, like, bosses and secret characters and stuff.
Right.
But pretty much they were able to use every character. So aside from that, it was just a bunch of exhibition matches just to see, how the game played.
What do you think?
I mean, aside from the character models, which I don't really want to get into anymore.
Right.
It looked close. There's still some things that don't really rub me well with this game. And a lot of it has to do with kind of the same hangups that I always have when a fighting game goes 3D is the speed.
Uh-huh.
That's always my number one critique. And this one suffers from the same thing. There's still a little bit of that just weird 3D floatiness that you get that you don't get with 2D games. 2D games are always a bit snappier. The animations are typically a bit snappier and stuff. And this is just it's too smooth. It's like they're hitting that frame fill button on my the in between button just to auto keyframe it. And excuse me. And so some animations look too smooth.
Right.
But then other ones don't. And so it's this like, excuse me again. So it's like, are you trying to get this game to look realistic, or are you trying to keep it looking kind of cartoony? Because right now it's in this weird space in the middle.
Right.
And it doesn't work out. And so then everything else from there is just me kind of nitpicking, mostly as an animator.
Uh-huh.
Like some of the poses don't work as well for me anymore.
Right.
Like they again, and it's a lot of this, like they're trying to keep it looking realistic as opposed to adding a bit more of a cartoony exaggeration to like the poses and things.
Right.
And so it loses some of its life when you do that.
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from with it.
Yeah.
There was one particular thing that I noticed, and we were talking about or at least I was mentioning last week that one thing I've always appreciated about SNK was that they always gave their characters a personality and whatnot, and I still see that there. I don't see a problem with that, but then when it comes to like animating them and everything, there was one particular example that I noticed that I believe I've seen it done better on with Street Fighter and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And there's when I was watching the I rewatched all the character profile videos.
Okay.
And I was watching the villains team, and I was watching Chang's special move where he does that one thing that's kind of like Kim's special move where he just beats,
he lands on his
the
ass.
guy.
Yeah.
That
one. Okay.
He pummels the guy and everything. Well, they added a little more to that because now no, I think that was there too. He still swings the ball around and everything. Yeah. Well, he does it now to where it's supposed to knock the person, flying. And they show it close up and it hits Kim in the face. But you don't see it connect. You don't see you see the ball hit him, but like there's no reaction on the face. You don't see it like what's the term I'm looking for? You don't see any kind of a connection to it. That's the best thing.
You don't see Kim's reaction to getting smashed in the face with a wrecking ball.
Well, he makes a face, but it doesn't. You don't see it like
no impact.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like bam. Oh, well, this hit me, but I'm not going to make a reaction to it. I mean, I have to make the facial reaction, but then, like, it's not connecting to my face. It looks like it's hitting my hair. And, like, I've seen this on, I've seen similar things, like, on Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I'm trying to remember which example it was, but where they get hit in the face and you see that connection, you see their face kind of folding in, and whatnot. You don't get that in this, and this is where I stand by that SNK was never good with 3D.
Right. Yeah. There's still just something missing. That's a big part of it. And again, that's one of those places, which is where I'm sure you were trying to get to, where SNK honestly should be pushing it even further than Capcom, because personality is their wheelhouse.
Right.
And I mean, a little bit of that is lost, especially in these newer characters. It almost seems more like just their costumes are their personality now.
Yeah, well, and then
at least for the newer characters, like there's the guy, Shune, I think is his name.
Oh, you're talking about the guy dressed all in black?
No, he's like this kid. He's got like sunglasses on his head, and then he's got like a jean jacket tied around his shoulders.
Oh,
it almost looks like a cape, but it's just his jacket.
It's like a Team China, I think.
It could be, yeah. At first, I thought it was a like an upgraded model for oh my god, what's his name? Kyo's fan.
Kyo's who?
Kyo's fan. His big.
Oh, Shingo.
Shingo, yeah. I thought it was like Shingo, like grown up, until I saw the name, and I was like, oh, that's not him. And then, of course, his moves were completely different after I figured all that out. But yeah, there was not much else to this. Like his clothes were way more flamboyant than he was.
Right.
Like it didn't make sense. And then there's that weird girl with the eyeballs for her head.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with her.
And again, it just seems like mostly it's just her clothes are so weird and so loud that you won't pay attention to the fact that there's nothing to her.
Yeah, I mean, again, I still am excited about this game, but I will say, speaking on that character and also some other characters, I kind of feel like towards the end there, they were like, we gotta come up with some other teams.
Yeah, no, right? Just fucking make something.
Yeah, because, I mean, look at the names, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of expecting something big, and I'll say why, but first let me go ahead and tell you the names of the characters here.
Okay.
Or the names of the teams, excuse me. Team Official Invitation. Well, what the hell does that mean? Because aren't they all officially invited?
Wait, one of the teams is named Team Official Invitation?
Yeah, it's the Official Invitation team is what they're called, and that's the one with the girl with the hair eye. Well, that's why I bring it up, because you reminded me of that.
All right.
And then you got Team Another World.
Right, that's Nakaruru. And
that's the one with Nakaruru, which, again...
Oh, she does not fit in that game.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and I'm wondering if they're gonna because they named it Team Another World. I'm going to assume that it's some kind of time warp thing, but I don't know why. I would think that since they kind of this disregarded the canon for Fatal Fury and Art of Fighting, that they were going to do the same with Samurai Shodown and just have it take place in modern times, you know? But that doesn't seem to be the case if they're calling the team, Team Another World.
Right.
And then Team China, well, I guess they have a Team China again, because when originally it was the Psycho Soldier team that was Team China.
Oh, right.
Even though I think isn't Atana Asamiya, isn't that Japanese?
She is Japanese, yes.
Yeah, so is Kensu, isn't he? Or is, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, but Chin is.
I don't know. Chin's definitely is, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kensu is Chinese, actually.
Okay. Well, point being is that some of these teams, I feel like because there's another like brand new team. I can't remember their name off the top of my head right now. I mean, there's a couple of brand new teams, but I mean, like, Team Villains. That, I mean, yeah, we have two familiar characters, but then we have that Zandu guy. But I feel like towards the end they were like, okay, what more can we do here? Like, they went from when King of Fighters 13, okay, who can we palette swap and have quote unquote return to the game. In this one they had a whole slew of new characters, and I'm kind of like, okay, well, what are they trying to do? Did they run out of ideas at some point?
Right. Yeah. It's a step in the right direction. I'll give them that. It's way better than any other 3D game they've ever made.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm more excited for it now because it does play like. And also, here's another thing. Sorry, I know you were trying to get onto something, but I think they're also trying to take advantage with all these previews and everything that they're showing and whatnot. I think they're also trying to take advantage of the fact that Street Fighter V was not complete. And it's like, hey, Street Fighter V has 16 characters. We have 50.
They could be. They could be, but I mean, they still got a huge hole to fill because KOF has fallen way behind Street Fighter.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Doing it in 3D, okay, fine, do it in 3D. But again, I've been harping on it this whole time because I've said it every podcast, but stylize them a little more.
Yeah.
I mean,
and again, a lot of that could be with for me, it's the animation and the posing just seems really dead and real muted.
Yeah,
from where it should be. They need to push it a little bit more. Yeah, and I think it would look awesome.
No, and it doesn't look terrible. I mean, it certainly has improved over the first images we saw when we were really disappointed.
Yeah.
It's come a long way. So it's gotten to a point where I can actually appreciate it more. Oh, one thing I like and dislike, I'm going to go on about the music for a little bit, is some of the songs, they are trying to kind of, and this is another thing where I have this tendency to think maybe it's a prequel, but not. So like this Villains team, I was listening closely to their theme, and there are little touches of their original theme from King of Fighters 94 in it.
Oh, that's cool.
I noticed. Then there's the Japan team, and they have I wouldn't say it's their best theme, but it's not bad. And I'm listening to it and everything, and they have little bits and pieces from Isaka, not Isaka 94, which I think is the best theme, but the freaking one that's overused all the freaking time.
96.
Yeah,
the house.
The intro for that song.
Oh yeah. That does get used a lot.
Yeah, that's in there. Like they cannot let that song go.
Gotta keep them leitmotifs going.
No, let me tell you, every game that it's in, King of Fighters 96, King of Fighters 98, King of Fighters 99.
We've done this list.
Yeah. There's even a bit of his new theme in King of Fighters 99. What you call it?
Oh my god, you're gonna keep going, aren't you?
Yeah,
Let's stop.
Yeah. No, I'm not stopping because it still goes on.
God damn it, stop.
King of Fighters 2002 Ultimate Match is still in there. Yeah.
Yes.
King of Fighters 2003.
Overused.
King of Fighters.
Okay, so
11. King of Fighters 13.
On a
King of Fighters
positive
12.
note. On a positive note,
Yes.
some of the stages actually look really good, which was a big surprise for me because for the longest time, the only one stage they were showing was the Japan stage.
Right.
Which has got to be the most boring stage in that entire game.
It looks like a
It looks like a Dead or Alive stage, and I mean like Dead or Alive 2.
Right. No, but it looks like also kind of reminds me of like a wrestling arena. And
not even, because there's actually another stage that actually is in a wrestling ring, which looks a lot better.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the Mexico stage, right?
Yeah, the Mexico stage, which is probably my favorite stage because it's Dia de los Muertos, and they got all these Dia de los Muertos animatronic figures all over the place, and there's actually people in the background. And just like in Street Fighter, the people will actually start cheering when the round is over, when somebody wins. So that's cool. There's that stage, and then I like the Fatal Fury stage now too because it's on they're on Route 66.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Were you able to hear their theme?
No, it was a little too hard to hear just because the commentators were louder than the sounds from the game.
After the podcast, take a listen to watch their trailer. It's
okay. I haven't watched any of those yet.
It totally doesn't sound like your typical Fatal Fury music, but it's like biker music almost. But it's like it sounds really cool.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, that was probably the biggest positive for me was the stages actually are really good. And this is considering that I was really disappointed because that Japan stage is just nothing. It's just gray and signs and some fences.
Yeah.
And that's it. The one stage that stuck out to me that was kind of weird, and just because it seemed to me out of place in a KOF game, is there's a stage on an aircraft carrier.
I'm going to assume that's the Ikari team stage.
I'm sure it is, but it looks like a Guile stage.
With all
so
the planes
it's hard
and
for me to
everything.
just be like, this stage does not belong in this game.
Well, again, maybe they're trying to say to Capcom, hey, we didn't have all these stages in this game, but you can come see them here on King of Fighters.
It could be. Yeah.
But I mean, think of, I know we keep harping on, not harping on it, but we keep talking about KOF 14, but it is one of our favorite games, our game series.
Yeah.
And just to see how this game has come along, and I'm like studying it. I mean, do you see now where I'm saying that that it seems like everybody has their own stage again?
Yeah. I can see how you've picked up on that.
Yeah.
Right. Because that Mexico stage is probably the team that T-Zoc is on.
Right.
Or whatever he's called now.
King
of
Dinosaurs.
King of Dinosaurs, sure. So that makes sense.
Right. And I can appreciate that, so I can overlook some of these animation,
It's cool.
quirks and everything like that.
That's going to be hard for me to do, but sure.
Yeah. Well, and then seeing that it actually plays like a KOF game and not the Maximum Impact games helps also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sit here and knock Maximum Impact 2. I actually like Maximum Impact 2, but it's definitely its own game.
Yeah, so I'm definitely more interested in playing it now, and who knows, maybe they'll actually have it at an arcade in Japan, so that would be neat.
Well, I think
I can
they all
play
have
for
the
5
same release
seconds
date.
before I get my ass kicked. Huh?
I think they all have the same release date.
When's that?
So, August 22nd.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, they test them a lot out there, though.
Yeah, that is true.
Games get tested in arcades because they gotta get people to keep coming to those arcades. Japan's one of the last few places on Earth where you can find big arcades everywhere.
Yes. You know what?
I don't know what.
Going way back to our intro, I didn't even get to tell you that. So
what?
We're gonna now that you bring up arcades.
Okay.
I went to an arcade. I went to Tappers. The bar that had the free arcade games.
Right.
And everything. What a freaking awesome place that is. I only wish they had more arcade games there, but they had all these classic games: Donkey Kong Jr., Popeye, X-Men, Simpsons Arcade. They even had two Neo Geo machines there. Unfortunately, only one had one game that I was interested in playing, which was Samurai Showdown 2. They were all free.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Remember how I went to Dave and Buster's on my birthday?
Yeah.
So that was okay, but Dave and Buster's I've now realized is very dark and noisy.
Yeah.
It's a little unpleasant, quite honestly. If it wasn't for the fact that they have food and alcohol, there probably wouldn't be a reason for me to go back. So the month after that, my youngest kid had a birthday party, and he wanted to go to the mini golf that we have out here. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that place actually has a special now where you can just buy an all-day pass.
Oh, nice.
For the arcade. We didn't do that. They actually have an early morning pass where you can buy like a cheaper one that lasts for like 2 or 3 hours, and within that time you can play as much as you want for a little bit cheaper. So we just went and did that. We went and did that real early, and all the games that I wish Dave and Buster's had, they had at that mini golf. They had, just like you said, the Turtles. They had the Simpsons game. They had all those same games that Dave and Buster's had that I liked, like the Star Wars Battle Pod and that creepy 3D horror movie rail shooter game. But then they also had like a Neo Geo machine that had like every MVS game on it.
Really?
And you just choose. Yeah, you just go through a list of games. It even had like weird hacked versions of the games. And just everything. Turtles, Street Fighter machines with all the different versions of Street Fighter on it. Like, it was great. Like, I want to have my birthday there. And then with that same card, you could also go out and ride the go-karts or the bumper boats.
That's not a bad deal.
No, it was pretty awesome. So that's probably what we'll be doing a lot of birthdays from now on.
I know, right?
Especially now that they have like an unlimited pass thing. Like, hell yeah, man. This is the only arcade I have out here now. Now that my poor Starbase 1 has been closed.
Oh, they closed it down?
Yeah, Starbase 1 closed about a year ago now.
Oh, hold on. Moment of silence. Okay, done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, that is sad.
Yeah, it's too bad.
I can't say I miss any arcades here because there really aren't any except for the Tilt, and that one kind of not Tilt. I'm sorry, I'm thinking back home.
Tilt still exists?
GameWorks.
Right, yeah.
It's not very it's not kept up well, basically.
Right.
They have all these arcade games that I'd like to play, but half of them are broken.
That sucks.
Yeah, and then nobody. It's just dirty. Nobody cares to clean up in there. And then there was the Tappers is great, but it gets crowded really fast. Like at night.
Well, I'll bet it sounds like the best place to be if you want to play games and have some food and drink.
Yeah, it gets surprisingly busy, which makes me happy that there's so many people are going there, because that means that some form of the arcade industry is still alive.
Right. And that's a big part of it, I think, is that people just had to kind of figure out a new way to make places to play video games exciting again. Like Dave and Buster's was definitely a good step in the right direction. But again, I think it's too loud in there. Like, I had a headache by the end of that day.
It's too loud and it's too corporate.
Corporate and dark. I mean, the food's okay for what you're doing in there, and they have all kinds of drinks, which is great. But just by the end of it, I was like super tired from doing nothing. It's just tiring to be in that pitch blackness with all these really bright screens, and just everything is loud. Everything is set to 10.
Right.
And so you can't have a conversation in there.
Well, yeah, no, and that's not the only thing, though. I mean, when I say corporate, it means they're so focused on the ticket machines, because that's, I guess, how they make their money.
Oh, yeah, half the thing's ticket machines.
Yeah, and so, it's fun for a while, but then, it's like, well, I'd like to go and just play a normal arcade game. And I remember going there, and I remember when we went there years ago, and they still had like freaking what's the one I used to play all the game? The one the Silent Scope. You know, I remember playing Silent Scope there. I remember doing Dance Dance Revolution. I remember, you know, all those arcade games. You know, arcades were still alive back then. You know, they even had some Street Fighter machines. I don't see that anymore.
Well, I mean, the Dave and
wanna see
Buster's didn't have
ticket-based
that,
games.
but the arcade side of it definitely had mostly like those real big screen, sit-down rail shooter type games.
Yeah.
And like maybe some classic games. You know what I thought was weird, which I didn't mention, is that they had a like, you know, those Jurassic Park type games,
Right.
right? You go inside, sit down. They had a Luigi's Mansion one.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
which I thought that was funny.
I have to say the one around here has it. So,
Yeah.
But this Dave and Buster's is kind of, you know, it's fun, but So, but I mean, having been to Tappers, and I have to thank the person, very special thank you to the person who took me there, because that was an amazing experience. So, I just...
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't you, ass.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, I went there, it was fun. I personally played House of the Dead. We both did. And Moonwalker. And then by the time I took a break, and by the time we were ready to play arcade games again, all of a sudden it was packed, and I was like, I'm not gonna get to the games I want to.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like there were so many free, like not free games, because yeah, you can play them for free, but there were so many machines that were free around the time that I got there. And like 2 hours later, I was lucky if I could even get through to use the restroom.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, but it makes me happy, because it's like people still care about this stuff, you know?
That's good. Yeah, people realize that it's still fun.
Right. And it's not that it's not, you know, of course it's not the most important thing in the world, but it's a form of entertainment, especially for, you know, for us growing up, you know, in that arcade era, to still see that there and say, hey, look, it's not dead. And you know, this isn't the first arcade bar, but this the only one I know of here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, they're definitely sprouting up lately.
Yeah,
so
there's supposed to be one in Chicago, good. So.
And honestly, it makes sense, especially given what you said, that this is the kind of stuff that we experience with kids. Most of everybody that experienced that as kids is now
adult,
older, you know, about to start maybe heading into middle age, and we like to, you know, hang out and drink.
Right.
Why not hang out and drink and play video games like we used to? Right,
and I would love it. I had to keep reminding myself. I was like, I have to bring my son here. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can't.
Oh, man. See, that's the good thing about Dave & Buster's also.
Yeah,
is that you can bring your kids.
Yeah, it's just
Tappers doesn't sound like you can.
No, you cannot, and it's too bad, because he would love that experience. I mean, it is just, I just want to take him there and say, like, this is what it was like to play video games in my day. You know?
Save for all the alcohol, and well, maybe not the alcohol.
Oh yeah,
that was definitely around. But all the food,
right.
Definitely, we're not allowed to have food in there.
It's strictly like it's strictly alcohol. Like, they have a service that comes to like the cater food. I think they're not licensed to serve food there. So
interesting.
That's what impressed me even more, was that you know, they make most of the money off their drinks and everything. You know,
oh my,
and like,
well, they certainly would.
You know, that's because
my money.
I was like, huh, so they do have food here. Like, oh no, it's done through a catering service. They actually deliver it here to the place. I'm like, really?
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And then they don't have to worry about making it themselves.
Exactly. So
everybody wins.
Yeah, but it was a great experience overall. I can't wait to go back there.
Very good.
And, you know, all the free, you know, arcade games that they could get their hands on. You know, I mean, there was a lot of classic ones, but there were some more recent ones too. And I think the biggest one that they had that really surprised me was X-Men. The six.
Oh, nice.
The six
Was
player
it the 6
cabinet.
player one?
Yeah, the 6-player cabinet. They had it there.
Sick.
So, yeah.
Sick and rad.
Yep.
And tubular.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell we used to say.
The only machines you had to pay for there were the pinball machines, and they were a quarter.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe they were.
I don't remember the last time I've seen a pinball machine for a quarter.
Right.
They're always 50 cents at least.
I'm pretty sure they were a quarter. I'm not 100% sure though.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, great experience. If you're ever in Indianapolis, check it out. It's well worth your time.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not being paid for promoted. It's sharing an experience I had because it was a great experience.
But we certainly wouldn't mind if we were. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Hint, hint.
Well, as we're winding down here, I thought maybe we would get into kind of a topic, but we're already kind of running a little long for the way we would like this episode to go. We're going to try and keep it short just because of, like I said, everything that's coming up next week.
Right.
Lots to do. So trying to pick one last thing out of my hat. So I guess Warcraft didn't do so well.
Well, I can't really speak for that because I never followed
Neither
Warcraft.
of us have seen it.
Yeah, but apparently it did well in China.
It did, yeah. So China's saving our butts. Lots of online players in China.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely helps.
Yeah,
I think. And it sounds like if you're actually really into the Warcraft games, it's pretty accurate.
Well, that's good.
For a movie. Yeah, so that's definitely a step in the right direction. Like, it sounds like they didn't really give much of a shit about getting the general populace in there and just wanted to tell a Warcraft movie.
Well,
which is great.
That's fine. I mean,
it's not going to get you tons of money.
I'm not going to sit here and say, I should probably go check it out because I did hear that it's better than what people have said or what the critics have said.
Right.
But on the other hand, I've not seen much marketing for it done. So I was even surprised that it came out. I was like, oh, Warcraft movie, when's that coming out? And like, you think I'd know, like I always mention Grace Randolph at least once every podcast. And she tends to bring it up and then she's like reviewing it. I'm like, wait, it came out already?
Oh, yeah.
So
it's the Grace Randolph Supplemental Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that seems to be kind of the general word. It's like it's not that bad. If you're just looking to go see a movie that you know nothing about, you might not like it, especially if you're real picky about your movies. But if you like Warcraft, sounds like it's a Warcraft movie. And if you just want to go and, support video game movies and support a movie that actually tried to represent a game accurately on the screen for once, maybe go support it as well. Right. I don't want to sound hypocritical that I'm not going to go, but as I've stated many times before, I don't get to go to the movies much anymore as it is. But if I could, I would probably go watch it just to go support it.
Yeah, I mean, if it was easier for me to go, well, I mean, there are ways I could go watch it. It's just that for me, it's harder only because I was never really a Warcraft fan to begin with. And so,
right. And
for me, it's a case of I've heard so much about it, I don't really care for it. But yeah, I mean, I really should try to, go, do my part and support it too.
Right.
Thing about video game movies, like I said, and I've said it before, and I was kind of limiting it to Street Fighter and whatnot, but I honestly think that if we want to get these movies right, if you want to get a successful video game movie, and I'm not talking about just successful based on an actor or actress, because Resident Evil,
yeah, Lord knows,
it's technically a successful franchise because I mean, if it wasn't, we wouldn't see all these sequels, but. If you're gonna have a movie series and it's based on a game series that has several characters, do some kind of anthology, like don't like what they were trying to do is Legend of Chun-Li. A lot of people give that movie shit, and I think it's because everyone still has the Van Damme movie in mind, but if you really give it a chance, I don't think it was that bad. I really don't. They didn't use all the characters. Ryu's not even in the movie. His name is mentioned in passing. The characters they focus on are Bison, Chun-Li, Gen, and Nash. And then all the other characters are kind of side characters,
Yeah.
And I still don't understand why they got Taboo as Vega, but okay.
Whatever.
But they really could focus more on making a series of anthology movies. They mentioned Ryu towards the end of the movie, and they don't necessarily set it up for a sequel, but it's there's a guy named Ryu, he's gonna enter a tournament, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. And it's not it doesn't accurately follow the Street Fighter mythos, thank you. But I think they did a pretty decent job telling the story the best way they can. They even incorporated Rose into it, but for whatever reason she's Bison's daughter instead. But I still, as much as I love Rose as a character, I still don't understand her character in Street Fighter to begin with.
Right.
So I didn't mind it too much, But that's the thing. It's kind of like with Mortal Kombat movies. They tried to squeeze everybody in there, especially in that piece of shit Annihilation movie. They could have focused on a couple of characters, and just because if especially now with everybody, it's like, hey, we're going to announce. Well, let me just throw something out there. We're going to announce an Overwatch movie, and we're already planning a trilogy for this. Then don't squeeze every character. They're not making an Overwatch movie. I'm just throwing it out as an example.
Right. Oh my god, I would love if Warcraft was successful enough that Blizzard was like, okay, let's make an Overwatch movie now.
Right.
And they made it in-house. That'd
be awesome.
Oh my god, it'd be so good.
But even if this is taught us anything, even Sony couldn't make their own freaking character themselves into a good movie because they got lazy and slapped a bunch of CG scenes together to make a quick buck.
That was bad.
It's like, wow, really? And I think, you know what I'm thinking now that I've had time to think about this?
What are you thinking of now that you have time to think about this while you're thinking?
While I'm thinking, yeah. Ratchet and Clank, like I said, it's a bunch of CG scenes pieced together. And of course, right. I should have figured this out a long time ago. It's easy money. Because even if they don't succeed in the box office, they made some sort of cash and didn't really spend any extra on the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really small budget when you're splitting your budget between a movie and a video game.
Right, and if they're the exact same scenes from the video game,
right?
And on top of that, not even all the scenes from there,
which is weird. Normally, it's the other way around.
Right, exactly. So, that doesn't help the cause for movies based off video games. It does not. No. Which is sad because we have yet to see that one video game movie that everybody's talking about,
Right. And it may still take some time. I think one of the takeaways from, the mixed reviews of Warcraft, I think, coupled together with what we were just saying about how, gamers like from our generation have kind of just started, getting up there, not up there in age, but, we're all starting to hit our 30s and 40s, is that now that's usually the kind of age, where people start making movies. And so hopefully now we're going to start getting a bit more filmmakers who are actually fans of the games to start making these movies instead of just, some director who was handed a project and said, there's this video game out there, go make a movie about it. And, you know, they play it for like 2 weeks to get kind of the general gist of what they think the game is.
Right, exactly.
And then they go and make their own vision anyways. So in a lot of the ways, like current comic book movies, like, you know, like a lot of the people that make those movies now are actually fans of the comics, which is why they're so amazing for the most part. Hopefully now, you know, we're kind of going to start to get to that point with video game based movies as well.
I hope so. I mean,
we'll see where Assassin's Creed goes. Like, parts of it look pretty amazing.
Yeah, you got Magneto at the helm on that movie. So
yeah, man, Fassbender. Fast bending it up.
Yeah, the whole thing with these, like, okay, I just watched not too long ago a Nostalgia Critics review of Gem.
That's pretty good.
You saw it?
Yeah.
And just watching that, what a mess.
Like,
you know, I
yeah.
I have to watch the movie. Do I really want to? I'd have to watch the whole movie, but just seeing what he had to say about it is like. And this guy was apparently a self-proclaimed fan, and he got it all wrong.
Yeah,
which kind of worries me about that, because is it just? Do you just want to put your own spin on it? Do you want to, I know, it's like he mentions
there are still people that are like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he mentions in the, because, okay, you know how I am, because I remember doing this to you at one point. But, I tend to like. It hurt. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I was a young teenager.
Yeah. Still got the scars.
Put my own spin on one of your drawings. I know you didn't appreciate that. That's actually where I learned this. I like to put my own spin on things. I don't know what you're referring to now, but apparently I did something else, which I'll have to discuss after the podcast. But anyway, I put my own spin on one of your characters. You hated it. But I have this thing like, okay, well, this is my vision of this thing. But then this is different, especially when, like, the field that I work in right now. I have a tendency to do that sometimes when I have the opportunity to do it. But and I'm not saying that what I do isn't big, because it is, but then, I've had cases where something should obviously be something else and it's not. But that's besides the point. Something like this, if you're going to take care of it, don't. One thing I've learned: don't do it because of yourself. That's not who you're making it for. You're making it for the people who are the fans.
Yeah, that's the huge problem there, is like artistic license is big. Like as people who create, like we all like to put our own spin on things if we like something. A lot of the times that's how other ideas come about, is because you've taken something that you liked and kind of put your own spin on it and kind of turn it into something new, right? Like all art is theft, right? That's what they say. Which is basically what that is people putting their own spin on something else that they liked. The problem when you're going to create something that's already based on an existing property and you're keeping it in that same world, especially if it's something that hasn't been out for 20 years but still has a huge fan base, is that you're not, like you said, you're not making it for yourself anymore. You have all these other people who are going to judge it. It's not like you're basing it on some book that not everybody has read, and even if they have, like, for they're typically not super fanatical about it. Nobody's gonna typically people don't dress up as characters from books, mostly because nobody knows what they've looked like ever before.
Right, exactly.
Something like that, like you have a bit more free range to express your artistic license on. But when it's already a visual medium and you're trying to translate that visual medium and you want to put your own spin on it, you really need to be careful about where you're doing it.
Right.
Because there are people that will call you out on it because there's already something to compare it to.
Right, exactly. And, and I have to say, I agree with what he said, is that, the biggest insult in that movie is he got all the fans of the movie to say what they felt about the show and then use it in reference to what went on in the movie.
Right.
And it's like, really?
That's terrible. Yeah.
That was that
And
is
again, fanatical. Like a lot of those people that were recording those videos were dressed in Gem, t-shirts and did their makeup and wigs like Gem and stuff. Like they're fanatical, and I'm sure they were less than pleased with this
right
piece of crap movie. Like I'd never watched the show before, but just from that brief explanation of what the show was, I could tell that I would have been upset.
I think
like completely just lost. It's like he completely lost the idea of what the show was in favor of kind of just doing this whole like, well, if Jem was a pop star now in 20 whatever that movie was, this was like last year, I think 2015 like how would she be now? Well, she would probably be on YouTube,
right?
And
so it's funny because the numbers how they shoot up and everything like that overnight, and
right.
you have someone like Doug Walker doing that who knows YouTube, back and forth. It's like that's not how it works.
Especially for that video.
Exactly.
It's just lone girl playing on a guitar, and it's not even the most exceptional song you've ever heard.
Right.
It's a fairly bland song.
And you mentioned the whole thing about taking ideas and everything, and it's pretty kind of unrelated, but did you know that, and this is a little different because wasn't off an existing property, but did you know that Parasite Eve was originally an idea for Final Fantasy VII?
No.
Yeah, like there's supposed to be a lot of the concepts that were in Parasite Eve were like was at like the conceptual stage of Final Fantasy VII when it was supposed to take place in I think it was supposed to take place in a post-apocalyptic New York and whatnot, and there were some story elements in there. I don't remember what because it's been a while, but yeah, it's like it's what you were saying, taking an idea from something and then incorporating into something else. I mean, I know that's different, but that's something that I don't feel was done with like this movie in particular. I don't know why we're talking about Gem of all things, but it's probably
you brought it up, sir.
Right, but it just gives
video game movies. That's how we got here.
Yeah, we got into it about video game movies, but like and that's not a video game movie, but it's a movie based off an existing property
that's how they've been treated, is exactly like that Gem movie.
Right, exactly. And oh my god, and can I just mention that cringeworthy Kesha cameo at the end?
Kesha was in it?
Kesha was one of the misfits. But she's that one that said that our songs are better. We're gonna get her. Like, oh my god, no wonder she wants to leave her. I mean, I know it's a far more serious thing that happened to her with her manager, but she should have left that guy then. It was like, you really put me in this.
Oh god. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah,
don't do that to us. Don't do that to our movies anymore. You can't make a good movie out of a video game. Just leave it alone, please.
Right, but
leave it the F alone.
We'll see how this Assassin's Creed movie. I know I've not. Surprisingly enough, even with the games that I have, I've not played Assassin's Creed except for like the PSP version. But from what I've played, I did play the first one very briefly, but it seems like they're trying to capture that. They're trying to capture that feel of the game.
They are, yeah. I'm worried how they're going to handle the whole time hopping thing, but we'll see.
Right.
We'll see how it goes. Again, this movie could totally go off the rails very easily because just the game is already kind of a weird, wonky topic to begin with.
Right.
It's real easy for a director to just come in and be like, oh, I'm going to put my own spin on this really crazy tale already with machines that can read people's ancestors' thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just, who knows? Oh, we will see. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this slightly shorter than normal, I think, episode of the Gaming Tangents podcast. Mostly news today. Hope everybody was cool with that. Yeah. If you're not, we're not recording it again, so sorry. So like I said before, Maverick's going to be taking the reins for the next few weeks while I am on sabbatical. You got any previews for us? Any hints that you can drop as for what people can expect?
I have someone who's kind of pretty well known in the cosplay community going to join us.
All right. Interesting.
Otherwise, the other is just a special guest that I handpicked.
It's a secret.
Yeah, and we'll just take it from there.
Shut up.
Pretty much.
All right. So, as always, if you guys want to chat at us, talk to us about news, games, whatever the heck, movies, which we tend to talk a lot about on this show.
Right.
As always, you can find us at Twitter at CrossPlat Show. You can also join our Facebook page, Cross-Platform Show, on the Facebooks as well. If you're listening to us for the first time on audio, you can find us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, all that good stuff. And of course, you can always RSS link directly from our SoundCloud account. If you're interested in listening to any of our back catalog episodes, everything is on YouTube right now at our YouTube page, Cross-Platform Show, until we can pay those SoundCloud fees for bigger storage.
Right.
And also, please subscribe to that YouTube page. I know there's not much on there right now aside from the podcast shows, but this show was started with the idea that it would be a supplement to our upcoming YouTube show. So, it'd be nice to have a built-in audience already once that comes out. You don't have to, but we'd love you if you did. Anyways, if you also have any comments, questions, things you would maybe like to have us answer on the show, or you just want to say something nice, you can email us at crossplatformshow@gmail.com.
In space.
In space. So, I am World Traveler Menji. I will see you all towards the end of July.
And I will see
Hopefully
you all
don't
next
miss me
week.
too much. Yes. But anybody wants to talk to Menji, I'll definitely have access to Twitter, so I can hit at you guys on there.
Awesome.
Mav, good show.
Thank you. Good show. Sorry, you broke up. I thought you were done.
You broke up.
Yeah.
All right, guys, be kind to Maverick while I'm gone, or I will find you. All right, that's gonna do it for us for this week. Until next time, keep it gaming.
Keep it gaming.
Keep it gaming. So how do you like that one?
Sure. Why not? Game on. No, we can't use game on.
No game on. No.
Game over.
Keep it gaming. Keep on jumping.
We'll come up with something.
Grab that ring.
Yeah.
That sounds too much like grab that gem. And press start.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You played a great game.
Congratulations.
You listened to a great podcast.
Like you proved yourself. You proved the justice of our culture. All right, let's end this.
All right. And cut.
Okay, I'm going to stop that now.